Okay, King Sadiq back at you. Continuation, worldwide movement, peace, love, respect, of course. Continuation of the video that we were doing, talking about this important subject of the 5G technology that's being rolled out. So, once again, just recapping, this is technology that's being rolled out by the quote unquote elites, right? And by the folks who really are heavily invested in this agenda, this vision of human beings evolving, in their eyes, evolving to meld or sort of integrate with machines on a biophysical level, right? You know, even beyond that, because they want to eventually see the human mind mapped and integrated with AI, right? To the point that human perception will no longer be a product of us receiving and processing information, rather that process being actually given to you directly from AI, right? Um, Unfortunately, this is a technology that's not something far off in the future. We're talking about right now. Um, well, how does this happen, King Sadiq? Well, I touched again on the fact that human beings are electromagnetic in the way that we communicate within our bodies, the way that our brain communicates with all the cells in our bodies, and also in terms of the electromagnetic field that we put out, right? We emit an electromagnetic field. Our minds operate using an electromagnetic field that operates on different frequency ranges, right? Um, Usually a higher frequency. Um, that's rather the desired frequency, right? Now, unfortunately, the really negative thing about 5G technology is that, again, we're talking about extra low frequency waves. Um, they're operating, these are very short range waves, millimeter waves. They don't travel very far, right? So the way that they are emitted is a lot different. You might think of some central location that could broadcast these waves far and wide, when essentially it's actually quite the opposite. They're very easily interfered with in terms of by things like trees, right? Nature actually interferes with the propagation of these waves. We're going to start a little walk. Yeah, but yeah, nature actually interferes with the propagation of these waves, right? Um, that's why we're seeing, or part of the reason why we're seeing a lot more trees being cut down in urban areas. It's bad enough you see so many trees sort of carved into or hacked up or even just cut down for, power lines and so forth. But now we're seeing them cut down to make way for these waves to sort of have a pathway, because a natural mature tree is like a nightmare to the equipment that propagates these waves. So, yeah, unfortunately, we're seeing these trees cut down at an alarming rate in urban areas so that these poles can be put up. Now, what am I talking about, these poles? Well, I said before that these waves travel in a very short range. We're talking about the need, in fact, to transmit these waves through like a neighborhood. You're going to have poles almost on every block, right? And we're seeing that happen. If you take a look at the newer equipment, the newer poles that you're seeing erected, they're a little bit shorter than your telephone poles usually. And they've got these new short-range transmitters that propagate this 5G technology. The very other unfortunate fact about that is, with more of these transmitters, making sure that these 5G waves are being sufficiently propagated to keep up their net here. With more of those poles, you're talking about more of a risk of exposure to the average human being just walking down the street, right? In the course of, I don't know, I don't want to start putting numbers on it. Let's just say they're already popping up in alarming numbers, right? I mean, these poles are already starting to be like everywhere. Even in suburbs, I'm seeing them popping up more and more rapidly. They're going to literally be everywhere. They want a grid all over, not only just the United States, but the entire world, with this 5G technology being rolled out so quickly. And again, the exposure to human beings is only going to grow, which unfortunately is leaving us to a risk. Exposure to these 5G waves harms human tissue. It is harmful because of the propagation of these really short-range, low-frequency waves. It's harmful to the human psyche, unfortunately. So 5G is very damaging to the human psyche. We're going to see a range of symptoms if we don't steer this thing in a different direction, a range of symptoms that the masses of human beings will be suffering from. Again, from physical aches and pains to mental and psychological issues, all caused by these extra low frequency waves or these 5G waves that are put out to make this 5G technology work. Don't take my word for it. There was recently some executives who were questioned, I believe, by some folks in Congress about how much they actually put into, looking into the harmful effects on human beings. And they haven't put really much time or energy into that at all, at least not to a satisfactory level or one that's in the best interest of the masses. Their agenda is to roll out this technology no matter what. Despite its harmful, very, very harmful effects. I can't overstate it, folks. 5G is a bad idea, flat out. I know we're all so in love with technology, and I understand that, but we need to understand that advancing technologically doesn't mean you can only advance in one direction for one. Also, advancing in technology at the expense of the health of any being, let alone the health of human beings, is unacceptable, right? That's not the way that we want to be advancing, and I would argue if that's even advancing at all, right? We should be doing things to improve that are helping, quite obviously, frankly, to state that and state it basically. We need to be doing things that are actually moving us forward as a society, and not propagating things on a mass level that are harmful to human beings. I mean, that it kind of seems like common sense, but as the old saying goes, humans unfortunately have to deal with the reality that common sense ain't always common, right? And then again, there's the unfortunate reality that, listen, there are folks that have a lot of money, a lot of power, whose agenda is not one that is in the best interest of the average person. That's just a cold, hard reality that we've got to look into, accepting, not look into accepting, you have to right away. It's not even hidden. The agenda of the world's socioeconomic elite is sort of spelled out in a lot of places. Check the Georgia Guidestones where they talk about the depopulation efforts. A lot of representatives, I'll just say, from the world's top 1% are currently out there now pushing the ideas that are rolling forward these harmful technologies like 5G, that are propagating the idea and the acceptance and the integration of AI. All this stuff is happening so fast and is being so well sold that the average person, I think, isn't really taking much time to think about the implications. So consider this just a little heads up on that. Concern coming from a place of love, right? As I love you all. And just something that we need to deal with moving forward in the establishment of peace, love, respect. Because, as I said, nothing's going to stop or avert peace, love, respect. So let's continue looking out for that for each other, folks. Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. King Sadiq signing out.